All right, blue collar millionaires. I've got a stud on here today. Me and Kevin are excited to hear Ben's story. This dude I met at another mastermind. This is why masterminds are so important, because you get to meet like minded individuals. That's why this group is so fantastic, because every one of you guys and girls that are on here are driven individuals that want to find success in your life, want to build a lifestyle. And Ben's story was inspiring to me. We sat in the pool, smoking cigars, drinking beers at this mastermind in Louisiana, and I was stoked to get back to my office and implement some of the things that I heard him talk about. And one of my biggest takeaways from Ben was the culture that he had built and how his team within the company, how they respond to each other. So Ben, excited to have you. Tell us more about yourself.
Well, my name is Ben Hill. I am a serial entrepreneur. I own several companies. For the most part, 95% automated. It was 100% automated, but we had a little snafu there. But we're back up and running. God is good, and we're just steadily crushing it. We did meet. Yeah, we met at the mastermind there in Louisiana. That was absolutely outstanding. I was impressed to meet someone like yourself, blue collar per se, actually very similar industries that we're in, in terms of our primary business.
Right.
But right now, I own WNT Wash Bros. We also have a landscape lighting company, and then we do Christmas lights in the wintertime, as well as I have a real estate portfolio very similar to probably a lot of you that are watching this. And Chris, a lot of the things that you're doing, Chris, I'm paying attention to, taking notes and taking action on my end as well. You guys ask me questions. I'm not really good at this. I normally just stay behind the scenes and hustle my ass off.
Ben, tell us what happened with where you were at, and then what happened with this guy embezzling money. We just got started. Ben's going to tell us a little bit.
So I want to segue on that. So it took me 4 years to build my number one company, WNT Wash Bros, to a multi-million-dollar company. And I'm not special. Come from a trailer park, grew up single dad. He ruled with an iron fist, and I just learned work ethic. Anyways, built the company, and I was in the military. I played lots of sports, and one of the things with military and sports is it's all about culture, dude. I mean, you go in a locker room, if you have a really good coach and you go in that locker room, I guarantee it, there's going to be people cracking people in the butt with towels, freaking headlocks, having just a time of their life. Why? Because that coach has instilled culture.
Yeah.
And so I kind of took that and I ran with it. And it's also learning what I learned in the military. You got to build a brotherhood, man. When we're building businesses, you got to start with the idea, then start with the thing that generates the money. Obviously, the marketing tells the story, but the operations is what creates the money. Okay, so you got to build in whatever type of business niche that you're in. For instance, ours or mine was washing. I got to get guys that don't know jack shit about anything. They're not going to have any experience, and I got to teach them how to soft wash. So immediately I had to learn how to build culture with them. Built up, up to 3 locations. We had lots of trucks. Can't even know the exact count without me going through the fleet book and actually looking. Met Chris at this mastermind. What was that? Back in June of this year.
Yeah, it's a few months ago.
But anyway, so everything was great. Out of the business, several months. Things were rocking and rolling. Life was good. Life is still good now, but just failure for me to keep track of more specific KPIs that I wasn't paying attention to. It taught me a valuable lesson. I did not fail whatsoever. It taught me a valuable lesson that I know that I have to check more KPIs. We had our weekly KPI meetings. We had our monthly KPI meetings, but the things that I wasn't paying attention to, my actual accountant who caught it, and which caused us to do an investigation. And my general manager, who was kind of like an operations general manager, ended up embezzling money. It was like $190,000 over the course of a year.
Wow.
Kind of like robbing Peter to pay Paul, swiping the money up underneath the rugs, dissolving work orders, making them disappear. Like he was really smart on the computer. He was able to get things to go away. And actually between QuickBooks and everything is how it was found. It was $190,000. And I ended up, because I'm a firm believer the fish stinks from the head down. There was a lot of cancer in the organization. A lot of other stealing was happening. So I shut the two small satellite locations down, and I got my ass back in the saddle. It took me about 3 or 4 weeks. Ran interviews, found another stud general manager. He's a rock star. He's crushing it right now. And I'm still kind of in the operation, checking on him. I'm still micromanaging just to making sure everything is running smooth. He understands culture. He's a high fiver. He's an athlete. He's a high achiever. And one of the things that I learned recently at this mastermind we went to was the equity. I'm now working with an equity attorney to leverage or allocate percentages for equity stake, because I think that had I given this general manager, even though he had a really good high salary, I feel like that wouldn't have happened if I would have given him equity stake, because he came on board after like year 1.5, and he saw what I was able to build, even though, even though that, I had delayed gratification, just bootstrapped it. Now coming into year 4 and 5, he saw the nice cars and the nice houses and the boats, and he started seeing it. And I think he started getting jealous, and he was like, well, man, I was here with you this whole time. And so I learned a valuable lesson. I learned at the KPIs, and I learned I need to give away equity. Chris Lee spoke about it the best. And that was one of my I had 4 or 5 great ahas that paid for that trip. And one of them was that equity stake. And we're working on that now going into 2023. I will not be doing 401k. It will be 100% equity share.
Dude, I love that. So
like
here's man, you just unpacked a whole lot just in that little short segment. One thing that I have learned in business is if you give someone the rope to hang themselves, they're going to, because we're to not get into Christianity and the Bible and whatnot, but we all have this center side of us. And if we're given the opportunity, most of the time we would justify in our head a reason to be crooked. So you just said this guy came up with you and he got to see what you were benefiting from, although you had all the risk in the beginning, delayed gratification. This guy had a salary, but now he's seeing the gap in the income. And so he was justifying, well, I helped him build this, more than likely in his head. And so he felt justified taking that money. Now, the word embezzlement was never in his head. It was, I'm going to just take some off the top. He'll never notice it. And I think when we really do watch our data and we have the right KPIs and we have accountability partners watching everybody, then it takes that opportunity for us to hang ourselves by doing something that isn't 100% ethical. I've seen it happen plenty of times, and it really just comes down to how much accountability is set in place for each and every person, because we're all capable of doing it. But the other thing is the fact that when we were hanging out at that mastermind, you were talking about how you had gotten to a point to where you had just got bored with the business. This business was doing fantastic. You came down here to learn some more information so that you could get a spark back. And then you come back to just this incredible disaster almost. And your attitude is not, it's a disaster. Your attitude simply is, dude, I learned a very valuable lesson. And that speaks to the mindset of the entrepreneur and where you're at in your maturity as an entrepreneur. Because a lot of people would be like, man, I'm just going to shut the doors. Forget it. I'll just go back to me and another guy and we'll just run a truck. I was making good money then. How did you build a mindset like that? Do you think it was just experience? Do you think it was influences that you've pumped into your life? What?
Yes, 100%. Excuse me, guys. I have like the bubonic plague going on at my house, and I'm all congested. Anyways, this is not, Wash Bros was my very first ultra successful company. I've had numerous companies before that, and everyone stacked on each other that taught me new skill sets. I think everybody that is an entrepreneur all did landscaping when they were kids. I'm not even going to talk about that. I think everybody sold candy. I think everybody did all these things. The biggest thing that taught me the personal development was important was I got into multi-level marketing. And I did pretty good, but it just didn't work out. I couldn't stay focused for long enough. But it taught me, that is really when I started reading personal development books. Everybody, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The biggest book that I learned the most is if you guys are, those of you that are listening or watching this right now, is I highly encourage you to get, is Happy Pocket Full of Money. And another book that I have read that I actually give to my internal leaders is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's an outstanding book. Before they're allowed to get into management, they actually have to read the book because good managers are not great leaders, but great leaders are great managers. But anyways, I'm getting off subject here, but yes, personal development was everything to me. I try to read about a book a week, and it's all about mindset, like John Assaraf. I go on and on and on, but mindset is very important. But at the end of the day, what I've came too far, and my ultimate goal is to sell the company. I was literally at the verge of me putting it on the market for an acquisition company. I have a massive check that I spent probably $500, had it framed and everything, put it at my home office for the number that we're looking to exit for. And when this happened, I literally was like, son of a bitch. I was like, we were almost there. But then I'm like, how the God? I just, but then I was like, okay, well, what do I do? Just a lot of me time, pieces of paper, and start writing out why and how this happened. Okay. And even though that it happened, I had to get to the core root of what really happened. Why? It wasn't him who made the mistake. Yes, there was a mistake that he made. It was a criminal mistake. But the fish stinks from the head down. It's the leader's fault. What was I not doing that allowed this to happen?
Yeah, that's the best question.
And you know what? It goes all the way back to my management SOPs, which actually you're seeing right here, one of them. I was missing one standard operating procedure that would have caught this on the KPIs.
What was that?
Simply a checklist that they must have turned off when they send the reports to the accountant.
That was an expensive lesson, but you learned it.
Ben, you got to, I'm shot. Your attitude is awesome. And that's why you've been able to turn this around. Because I think of the same way. If this happened to me now, I hope I would have the same attitude as you've been. But if it happened to me 20 years ago, I would have been trying to kill that person. And I would have spent my life, like the next year, trying to make his life living hell and telling out all my buddies, this guy ripped me off. It would have been a total waste. Now you're looking at it like, okay, it's my fault. Even though it's not your fault, you just look for the reasons on why it happened, and you can prevent it. And the last thing I want to say, Ben, I thought was a really good point, is this is your first wildly successful business, but you built the skill set on these smaller ones. Yeah. That's what young guys, I'm the same way. Before I had a multi-million-dollar business, I had businesses that made hundreds of thousands. Before that, tens of thousands. Before that, $100, like a candy thing, even though it wasn't a real business. But you have to step up. People want to just like, oh, I'll just run a $5 million business. It don't work like that.
I agree. And so, Ben, did you start this with just you and a van? Like, how did your startup happen?
I started it by knocking on doors, shaking hands, and kissing babies.
Yeah, just you. Like, what got you interested in it? You saw somebody making money with it, or what?
Dude, now, if you really want to hear the story on this, I was a regional service director for Camping World. After my third business failed, it was drop shipping. I made a shit ton of money off drop shipping, but I wasn't paying taxes, so I got shut down by the tax man. Then I had to go back and get a job. Kevin, you want to talk about something that made me almost want to get almost like suicidal thoughts, dude. Like, I literally was grinding my ass off, working long hours, working a full-time job, and then the federal government stuff did, because I wasn't even thinking about it. I wasn't paying taxes. And I had to go back and get a job. I had to shut the damn thing down, and it was kicking off, margins of 75% freaking margin.
Man.
So I went back to work. That one was the one that almost beat me down the most. I didn't think I was ever going to start another business again after that happened. So I went back to work for Camping World. I was a regional service director. I was over a few dealerships as a service manager, and I was there for numerous years. great pay structure. I learned a lot about structuring pays that way. I learned a lot about DBAs and how to structure businesses because of my manager allowed me to get so close to certain people in the organization. And but one thing that they were terrible at was how they treat people. And I was there for several years. I absolutely hated it. My wife was pregnant with our third child, and in 2018. So 2018, I told my wife, I was like, I don't know how much more I can do this. I was like, I hated my life. I hated everything about it. I mean, I was making like $70,000 or $80,000 a year, but I was just miserable. So on my birthday that year is when I freaking quit. I put my 2-week notice in, and leading up to that, your question was, how did I get into this out of all businesses? YouTube. I was just watching a YouTube channel and I saw this guy on YouTube and I was like, dude, not only can I do this better, I can create a better YouTube channel. And I already know what marketing skills that I had acquired from the other businesses, with Google ads and YouTube ads and Facebook ads. I was like, man, I'm gonna do this. So one night, actually, this was prior to me leaving Camping World. One night, I do things bass backwards. Like a lot of people say, just go and get started and then figure out along the way. I put myself in so much accountability where I like, yes, it is important to take action, but when I have an idea, I go from paper to implementation. I write it down and immediately go get the LLC started. Why? Because it makes my ass fucking go. Like now I've got money in the game. I gotta go. And then once that happens, the name, boom, and then I just start marketing the product, and I get all and the money that comes in pays for everything else to keep it rolling and keep growing the idea. Started a YouTube channel, brand creation, hired a bunch of people on Fiverr, got all these things done, and I literally just started knocking on doors. Every day I came home from work for about a month and a half. When on my lunch breaks, depending upon what dealership that I was at that day, I would freaking go to the closest neighborhood. I had door hangers and I'd go knock on doors.
I love it.
Yeah. And then at the end, and I didn't even have a CRM, dude. I was just using the carbon copies.
Yeah.
And if they said that, yeah, you can do it, I said, okay, great. I'll be here at 6 o'clock to come freaking wash it today. And then I did that for like, I don't know, 3 weeks. And I started making more money on the weekends. And I was making, my 2-week salary. And I told my wife, I was like, listen, I'm miserable this, she's like, what do you mean you're pregnant, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just imagine if I had 10 to 12 hours a day doing this, what kind of income could be produced? And then once I left, it was the most scariest damn thing in my damn entire life. Having to do this, dealing with what just happened. I just got the freaking taxes paid down. Tiff was then pregnant. Going into winter, I cashed out my 401k just as a nest egg to hold us through winter so we didn't freaking go bankrupt.
So you started the business full time going into winter months on an exterior washing company.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. And so 30 days in, I was freaking crushing it. I was, I'd get up at 5 a.m. I would post in all the Facebook groups about washing and some of my before and after pictures. And I had a routine from 5 to 6. I would do this. From 6, I would do this. And from 8 until 4, I was out door knocking. I was door knocking. And when they'd say yes, I'd say, I'll do it right now. I'd go to my truck and get on my wash clothes and go back. I'd wash the house. And then when I was done, I'd collect payment, wash up real quick, put on my freaking nice clothes on, and I'd get back knocking the doors again. And I would do that until 8 p.m. And at 8 p.m., actually in the winter months, it would get dark quick. So I actually had to hustle. I would do more commercial. I'd go park in my truck at the one end of the road where all my equipment was in, and I would just go down the commercial road as far as past the horizon until I got a job. And then I'd run back, get it, go wash it, and then just keep going. And then led into spring, I almost all of my money, my 401k money was gone by January. January was one of the coldest months. I remember that year specifically. We got it seemed like every 4 or 5 days we got 6 inches to a foot of snow, and I was like terrified. We were eating ramen noodles, and all of my money that I was making was going back into freaking Google ads and marketing materials and more lettering for the truck and more hoses and more bleach. And I was just feeding the beast. And then come time around like May or June, like I was already cracking up by myself, like $30,000 or $40,000 months. And then I brought on somebody, and all this is being done out of my 10 by 10 barn, and I was living in a freaking mobile home trailer. And so I had to cast immense amount of vision, but I could keep going and going. This is the real story. Like, I mean,
dude, here's the deal,
all
man. I know me and Kevin are over here grinning, turning red face from smiling so hard because this is the true grind behind
this
every
is the
startup.
grind.
I mean, any successful business, this is the story that nobody sees when the success is happening, because we all started out of our own home. We all started hustling it on the side. We all started pouring everything we made back into the business. We live like we were broke so that we could live rich tomorrow. I mean,
it's an incredible story, and I love it. And I did so many other things. I used to do the same thing. Walk into clubhouses, wear the nice shirt on, and I would get them to let me do something. I'd go in the van, put on my boots, everything. Then I'd sit there with like baby things and wipe up and go to the next one.
Yep.
And I'd probably smell like shit. Like, I didn't give a shit. I did the cold calling also in my car. I had to work a job in 2008. Same thing. I'm sweating. I'm cold calling complexes. We do stuff that other people think are crazy.
Yep.
We lost you for a second,
but the results are massive. And a mentor one time, I told this story, and he got a story. I said, why don't they want? He goes, because this sounds fucking hard. People aren't going to do it. But I said, I know guys, there's guys like Ben, there's guys like Chris and I, we do it. We fight through it. And the results are massive.
Man, I want to know more about I want to start diving into how you built your culture. You alluded to it a little bit earlier about the locker room and whatnot.
Love that story.
Well, if you're watching this or if you're listening, however you're seeing this, everybody has worked for an asshole before, right? Assholes are the ones, if you listen, get in a group of other folks. The person that is a shitty boss, that is a small family company, that person doesn't go to events. That person doesn't network with other successful people. That person is stuck in their own way. Okay. And if you look back at the characteristics of a bad boss, you got to reverse engineer. Well, what does a good boss look like? And so when I worked at Camping World, I had to, I was the youngest, I think I'm 38 or 39 right now. I don't remember. I have to look at, I think I'm 30. What's this, September? 39. Anyways, sorry. When I was in my 20s is when all of this happened with Camping World, late 20s. And I had, 20 to 40 technicians in each shop, and guys that were way older than me, been doing this for many, many years. They all loved me. Not to toot my horn, but the reason why is I had an open office, and then every hour I'd go make a round in the shop and go ask every single technician if they needed a hand doing something. And I'd roll my sleeves up and I'd help them. I don't care if it was holding something or, Anyways, so I had to come up with something. When I started Washburn, I'm like, how the hell am I going to get people? Because when I first started Washburn, it was fucking hard to keep people, dude. So I had to. There was a pivotal moment, like my first full year around like June or July. And I'm like, man, I was having trouble getting people. So I had to check myself. And so when I picked back up reading personal development again, and then I started, watching videos on YouTube on building cultures and what it was like. And everything goes back to a sports team, man. And the reason why I say it's a sports team is because a business is a team. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't refer to my people as employees. I don't refer to them as staff. We're a team member. When one person makes a mistake, there is a ripple effect that affects everybody. I don't care if it's in the office. I don't care if it's a maintenance person. And so anyways, so how I built the culture was based on a team. I'm like, okay, we were a small outfit. At the time when I was starting to hire people, I went from my 10 by 10 barn to a larger building. It was like 10 by 30, enough to park a truck in, to have a little tiny workshop. And I had my little office desk in a corner with no bathroom. So when somebody had to poop, you had to poop in a 5-gallon bucket and shut the garage door while they're in there pooping. But the culture was like, I had to cast a vision, and the culture revolved around the team and the vision. It was It was two unison. It matched like this. Okay. Why? Because the vision had to do with them, right? And them was the team. So every time I casted vision, I would make them feel part of where we're going.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I did that, I didn't have any problems with no call, no shows. And I started to actually catch on to like how this thing works. I'm like, okay. So, and then we introduced high-fiving every morning. We introduced no negative emotions, where you're not allowed to come in and complain. If actually somebody comes in and complains now, what we ask them is, are you bragging or complaining? When somebody starts bitching, are you bragging or are you complaining?
Yeah.
But anyway, so
like
started high-fiving, and we started, we put up a whiteboard on the office or in the warehouse wall. And I started getting the guys to compete. So if we're a team, what are we going for, right? And what the goal was to be the best in WNC Washbros. The name was the name. And like there were so many people way ahead of us in the business or in this area. And I was like, I'm not here to compete. I'm here to dominate, and I'm here to dominate in a massive way.
Yeah.
If you want to be part of this, I said, this is what I expect out of you. This is what you're going to expect out of me. Okay. But I started having the guys compete every day. Well, when I didn't have multiple trucks, well, how would they compete? Getting here on time every day, getting a Google review every day, getting an upsell every day, no damaged equipment every day, making sure the trucks were clean every day. And I'd have a graph, and whoever won at the end of the week, I'd give them $100 cash or $200 cash. And it started creating this, dude, that shit just gave me goosebumps, man. It started making them compete. And then the marketing started speeding up, and I started building systems, which got me out of the field. And then I had the 2 trucks, and then I started making the trucks compete. And then I started adding in softwares and stuff like this to get Google reviews automatically. And then I started giving guys money for putting out yard signs. And then I had a really big graph, and these guys were making $300 to $500 extra a week. And then it started like, oh, wait, we're just washing and we can make $1,200 to $1,500 a week. Yes, you can, but you got to be a winner, because only winners survive around here. If you want to thrive, then let's keep going. Let's keep pushing forward. And then I just kept doubling in size. I just kept doubling and doubling in size, like every 4 to 6 months. Boom, boom. I would take all the money and just put it back into another truck and equipment. And money that would come out of that, I would freaking put it in marketing, to the point where we were spending like $30,000 a month just in marketing.
Where did you find the most success in your marketing channels that you used? Where do you feel like most of your actual jobs came from?
Well, so Google is your low hanging fruit. Dude, I'm considered what they call a Google partner, because of all of my Google Ads accounts that I have, and what I kind of offer Google Ads training for our industry. Mm-hmm. But anyways, Google's your low-hanging fruit. There's a way to capitalize on it if you really want to know. Really quickly, 3 key points. All your reviews, you must reply immediately with keyword-specific responses. So if they reply with a 5-star review, hey, thanks for choosing your company for XYZ service that you're trying to rank on your website. Another key thing is you must be posting pictures every single day. Pay a VA if you're not doing it. The VA, those photos must be geotagged, and those photos must be keyword relevant. Okay. Messages, you have to be replying to your messages. You can pay a VA to do that. You need to be paying them to do that within 10 minutes. But what this does is all this shit that I'm telling you is Google will make you a powerhouse. You'll spend less money on, like, do you know what my click-through rate is, dude? It's 3 times the industry norm, because of all the extra shit that I do that Google wants to see to rank. Therefore, but they naturally place me higher. And because I have these YouTube channels, my click-through rate is like almost triple what the average person is that doesn't have anybody that's competing in their market.
So hold on. So on your YouTube channel, are you working the same keywords that you're working in your review responses and on your web pages?
Yep. So if it's a video, I'm geotagging the city, hashtag geotag city, hashtag keyword. And then in the video, you say, in this video, we are going to talk about power washing in Asheville, North Carolina. And so I have the geotag, I have it in my verbiage, and then below in the area, the main body, the description, you put in the exact verbiage that you just said out of your mouth, and then put the link to that website and put your freaking Google My Business linking in there. So you're just creating this massive power of of this. So when you ask me this question, yes, Google is freaking powerhouse. Just I don't know if anybody's that does what I do in my market, and if you learn this, so be it. I'll still crush you because I'm willing to spend more than anybody on advertising because I know my data. But anyways, an average month is 40 grand a month in revenue just off of Google, just for one location.
That's awesome, man.
Those are some great tips.
I was writing down some stuff that I knew about the keywords in the responses, but I didn't know about how quickly on the response. And it also, I've slacked on that because I've been the one that's been responding.
Chris, get a VA doing that.
I know, man. I've got to get on the board.
And I'm big on VAs, Chris. I'm going to get Chris over on this.
Geotag, you need to be using geomiglr.com. You need to geotag your photos. I give my guys $20 for every 30-second oddly satisfying video that they capture of pressure washing badass concrete wood deck. We put it on TikTok. We do all this. We put those videos on Google My Business. Before and after pictures, they upload them. The VA comes in, grabs them, puts it on Canva, puts it over to the geotagging software, and then all of Western North Carolina, we have all these subsidiary cities that we target to have the whole area for our micro locations, and so we have them on a rotator. Excuse me. They go into Microsoft Teams. They grab it. So this week we are targeting Hendersonville. So roof cleaning, graffiti removal, everything is being targeted. So next week we're targeting Waynesville. And what this does is Google. If you come into my market and you spend $150 a day, or I've been in this market for 5 years and I'm spending that, who do you think who are they think that they're going to put up first?
Oh yeah, you.
Ben, where are you located?
Western North Carolina, in the mountains where the Biltmore House is.
I mean, if I'm living in that area and I'm working at Home Depot or any of these jobs making $15 an hour, this is like I'm calling you after this to get on that. I mean, Chris, what I say is when I hear a good idea and I say, if my competition was doing this, would I be worried? I would be worried, very worried about two things. This guy knows way too much about Google ads and everything. Yeah. And then he's building soldiers that he can take your employees if you're in Western North Carolina. If they're listening, you're in trouble.
They get a $300 referral bonus from anybody that they get brought in from another company that lasts 30 days.
Just boom. The $20 for the oddly satisfying video, I would find you a video every day.
Let me stack on that real quick. I have a whiteboard in my office or in the main office. They get $5 for every yard sign they put out. We use a thing called Voxer. It's a chat, if you guys heard of it. Okay, we have a sign chat. There's two guys in every truck. The passenger will put out the sign at the stop sign. The driver will take a picture, upload it to the chat, so it timestamps it, so there's no deceptive crap going on. The guys that are hustlers running these trucks will do $30 to $50 a day just in yard signs. If you come into my market anywhere in Western North Carolina, you see my buying houses for cash signs. You see freaking for sale owners, house washing, roof cleaning. We hang Christmas lights. Blah, blah, they're everywhere.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me keep adding real quick. I'm almost done. They get the $5. Then they get $5 for a really good before and after picture, $20 for 30-second video, $10 for every 5-star Google review. And they get $100 a month for no incidents with the trucks. They can literally make $1,500 to $2,000 a month just for being a hustler.
And this is your team on your soft washing that's also advertising for your other businesses through these bandit signs.
That's correct.
Think about if you're on this truck and you broke your phone and now you're like, shit, I got to pay whatever $300 on the to get the new phone. Like your check is always $700 a week or 2 weeks. You're in trouble. But now you could just go put out a bunch of signs. He's basically giving you. What guy's not doing that? Or if you got your girlfriend's birthday's coming up, you're like, I'm just gonna go put out a bunch of signs over the next 3 weeks, and I'm gonna let Ben pay for it.
Do you know that? So in here, if somebody complains about money, the managers always say, "How many signs you put out this week?"
Exactly.
We got a guy that puts out, and then on weekends, if they put out my house buying signs, I give them $7 a piece on the house buying signs. Every weekend, I have 2 or 3 guys grab 30 or 40 signs. I order 1,000 signs at a time. Chris, I have houses under contract. I just started this house buying shit. I think 2 or 3 houses under contract already. right now. One that I just exited the disposition side of it yesterday.
So are you wholesaling, flipping, or are you trying to build a portfolio with what you just started on the real estate?
All of the above. I'm trying to not rob Peter to pay Paul.
Gotcha.
Once we get back to fully automated, I'll get right back in the trenches and cold call people, dude. Now I'm in this other business. I'll build a team of VAs and I'm going to get this bitch up. I've already told Chris, dude, I said, the only difference between me and you, bro, I said, you started sooner than me. And, I just partnered with Chris. I paid lump sum to partner with him. And we're already doing all these deals. Matter of fact, the third day I said, bro, I already got yard signs out. We put out 150 signs the last 4 days. He said, what? Got a deal? We already got it under contract.
Yeah.
I said, watch it, buddy.
Chris Rood is who he's referencing.
Yeah, you're damn right. I told him the only difference is he started sooner than me. Facts.
That's awesome, man. So how do you pay? All right. So we know all the bonuses. Is your guys, because me and Kevin just had a conversation about this over Zoom, and we're going to get our VA to, Kevin's pulling me into the VA world. I'm struggling and kicking and screaming, but he's pulling me in. So we got the VA that's going to chop this thing up and release some clips on it. But how is your guys paid on their before all these bonuses that you got going on? Are they hourly? Are they commission? Are they a mixture? Are they salary?
I've done all the above, and I do it's a percentage profit share. That I make sure that the labor, we never go over on labor because labor is the most expensive thing that any of us have. My business model is a 25% labor line. I pay out 20%. That extra 5% is where I come up with for my yard signs and all this stuff. So it ends up equaling out. For the year, I'm sitting at 23.7 with a net margin of 27% at 1.4.
I love that, man. Yeah, that's awesome. That's what we were discussing.
That's how he knows his numbers. That's how you got to know him.
Yeah. Dude, man, let's go start a business together.
Dude, Chris, you know what? I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. Both of our business complement each other. I think next year we need to have some type. I think what we need to do is get together, because I like my business model is copy and paste. I could bring it to your market. It's everything that we do is this type right here. It's call center environment. That's how many leads we get in a day. And you just focus on a 50% close rate and monitor your numbers. When something works, scale it up, and then your close rate goes up higher. But anyways, and then you teach me. I'll go buy a truck, and then we'll implement it, and we'll do the business model, because I would love to clean everything on, or whoever buys this company in the near future. But I would love to add that because it would make it a higher EBITDA.
It's an easy model for you to pick up, because none of this stuff is complicated. I mean, it sounds complicated because if you've never done it, there's so many unknowns to you that it looks like a big black hole. But when you do what Kevin has taught me is the KISS model, keep it super simple. If you can break it down at the high level, I mean, it's really even down to us being able to dry a structure out. It's just a matter of our temperature, having airflow, and making sure that we're controlling the humidity. Everything else can be pushed to the side. If you've got those things down, you can dry a structure. You can sit there and literally be a great restorer when it comes to water losses. It's just a little bit of knowledge, simplifying it, and then building up underneath or on top of those foundation blocks. So I agree. Kevin even said, dude, we need to get you in other states so that you can do more of the VA model, because Kevin, you can speak to it, but you're finding teams like me, like Ben, and on the startup side, when we get at this level, we're not really as interested, but on the startup side, he's finding these teams and literally saying, hey, I'm going to flood you with work, get you paid quick. And then he's able to be in multiple states with VAs running it. Is that the high level simplification of your model?
That's it. That's pretty super simple.
Well, I'd like to sure as hell hear more about that. Could you elevator pitch me?
Well, this is what I do, Ben. I do gutter cleaning for apartment complexes and condo associations. So I started off 20 plus years ago, and I was doing it with myself and an employee, and I was getting all these apartment complexes, and I found them really easy to get. And then, I had 10 guys, 20 guys. It was seasonal. So I started going into the warmer states to extend the seasons. But then it got, it's just hard to get all the employees. So I started using subcontractors and teaching them how to do it really fast, because I was really fast at doing it. But those subcontractors, like a company like you or Chris, you guys are branded, you guys are doing really well. It doesn't work as well. It's usually an owner operator guy with one or two guys. He needs more work. He wants to get paid really fast, because I'm not getting paid for 60 days on these things. I'm paying these guys in 2 days. I don't even wait 5 days. And that's how fast they love it. And then it's residual work, because we're doing it over and over again every spring, fall. Some of these places, like in North Carolina, I do 4 times a year, in Georgia. And then I can it's just a rinse and repeat model. And then I have a whole team of
revenue.
Huh?
Reoccurring revenue.
Reoccurring. So I've done some apartment complexes in New Jersey for over 20 years now. Like, there's one company that gives me 44 of them. I do them 2 times a year I've made over $1 million just on them.
Yeah.
For a long time. So yeah, I just do the same thing over and over, and I use virtual assistants, doing basically everything, sending everything, answering emails, certificates of insurance, invoicing, everything, collecting data. I love working with them.
What cloud-based software are you using? Are you using Google or Microsoft Teams?
Google.
Yeah, that's what
I
we
love
use
Google.
too.
I love Google, and we're updating it constantly. You know, all these things, and we're pricing all of these online. So you don't need, when I started this, I used to have to drive to the apartment complex and draw a map.
Yeah.
It's
Screenshot,
because of technology. So I just knew a lot of these other guys weren't doing it. And I know that Chris could do this. You could do the same thing, Ben. If you found 25 different soft wash companies, let's assume you liked them and they did good work, you could teach them this whole thing, flood them with work, and then just take a percentage of it. And you could have a whole nother side business going.
But it's more commercial than residential is your model, which is
mine's commercial, but he could do it with residential because he's an expert on how to get residential.
Let me ask you something. Kevin, do you have what you just barfed on me, which is awesome? Do you have a piece of paper that you can? I'd give you $500 if you can write on a piece of paper for me what the model looks like from inception of getting the call into collecting payment to issuing the payment. If you could write that on a paper, like what your process is, because if you could write that process down, I can get because I'm a visual and a kinesthetic learner.
Yeah.
If you could write that down, and then so I could do it, I would love to implement it, or maybe bring you on an equity share, an equity stake on of doing this with SoftWatch, because I know that I can do it. I can go in any market and
I know you can
and be top 5 within 6 months.
Yeah, I know anybody. So I can go in. It's the same way. When I used to go in all the other states, I already knew it was going to happen. The same way you know what's going to happen if you go into Chris's market and do this. I already know it's going to happen because I just heard your whole Google speech and the whole thing. It's the same thing. The way I build the databases and I get the property managers, it doesn't matter if it's Wisconsin or Georgia. It's all the same. So yeah, I could show you how to do that, and we'll connect after this. I'll be happy to show you how to do it.
My brain I just had a brain fart, dude. Like, even though that I know that this is another business model and this is another income source, why the hell I haven't done this already?
Ben, Chris, Sean Stipe and I are buying this roofing company up in Cleveland. It's a partner of mine. He's going to run it, and I'm going to feed a lot of the work from my gutters into that. But everything you were doing with Google, Ben, I would love for you to show us how to do that, and then of course, and I'll show you how to do all this.
Yeah, I can add you to our Microsoft Teams, because I have everything that I just explained to you that our V8 does it. They do all the ranking for us for $200 a week.
But Ben, I used to do soft wash. I used to do roof cleaning and soft wash in like 2010, 12, 13. But I do that with soft wash companies now, where I get them huge communities and take a piece. I like it because it's like I don't have to deal with all the bleach and all the other shit. And I just got to make sure it's a really good company that does great work, because there's a lot of hacks out there.
Right.
Dude, all right. Since we're paying each other at this point, Ben, we're going to have a conversation after the fact, and I want you to help me build out I want to know what you're feeding your VA, the information and whatnot, so they can set this up. Because this is something that I was doing and I have pulled away from. And I've got my review request automated with my CRM system, but the replies back, and then I've got my SEO team, and I rank decent on Google, but we don't stay on top of it like if I had a VA that was only doing that. So I want to connect after the fact so that I can up my game there. We do fine, but we could definitely do better. And this is what I love about masterminding. This is why it's so important to be in the right rooms and in the right networks. And this is free content. Just imagine when you sit and pay and you get into a room, because the people that are paying, they're hustlers, and they're going to be backing it up with action. They don't pay to just go and drink beer with someone, because you can go to the bar and do that.
So Ben, did you get into the lighting and everything because of two things? To extend your season because it gets colder and the lines freeze up, and then because you already know what was going to happen because you know how to get leads?
Yeah. So yeah, we did it for employee retention, and the first season we did it, and I acted like a freaking idiot. I knew we would be busy, but just like you said, because of the Google thing, we blew out of inventory 3 times our first year. This year, flying around me. This year we're doing about 100,000. I mean, this year we're doing about $100,000 a month. So
lights.
Yeah, Christmas lights. Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, we do. I mean, the average person says, "What do you mean you can't make money doing that, dude?" We're getting ready to do the Mercedes dealership. A Mercedes dealership here in town is $24,000. We'll have it done in 2 days with 5 guys.
Big jobs.
People that pay us already to do our things. Run an average ticket report on your customers that spend more than, I don't know what your average ticket is, but for us it was like $1,000. I did a voicemail bomb where I recorded a message, sent it out to the customers. Say, hey, now we're hanging Christmas. Like, this is before I even formulated the business. And when they called back, I had deposits. I had probably $30,000 or $40,000 in deposits. I took that deposit money, went and bought the inventory. The 50% paid for the inventory. Then we installed it. They paid us remaining. And so my first year, I think I had like a 20% margin. These are lease lights, to where when we buy the lights, their first payment, the 50% deposit pays for their inventory. You still profit a little bit on the season one, but because it's a lease option, we come back and take them down in the end of the Christmas season. The second year, we go back and put them up. It's pure profit because they're lease lights. The second year, we give them 10% off. Third year, we give them 20% off. But year 2 and year 3 is pure profit outside of, you're just your regular cogs,
That's awesome, man.
So 2 questions we got here. How do you retain employees during the winter season? And then also, how did you find that operations guy that you hired that's kicking ass?
Indeed. Just like anything else, Chris, I've shared this with you before. Whenever you write an ad, don't make the ad about you. You're hiring millennials. I don't know what kind of company you have, but if you have some type of service-based company and you're not an IT guy, you're hiring millennials, okay? They're coming out of high school. They're, you don't make the job like it's 1974. You got to have this. You got to be here. You got to dress this way. You get breaks at this time. And if you do this, we don't need you. And don't be a pansy. Who the hell wants to work for a company like that? You're pretty much telling me you're an asshole right away.
Yep.
Okay. When you want to write that ad, you make it about the person reading it, not about the position you're looking to fill. Yes, you make it about the person reading it. It's called copywriting. You make them get hooked into what they're reading. So when they read it, they read all the way down to the end. Now, if they don't read to the end because they see this is exciting and then they apply, what they do is they skip the instructions at the end. My A players, the people that I make because I make the ad so enticing. They're like, oh my God, this sounds like so much fun. Oh. And then they call the office. Okay. Well, what happened was they skipped 3 steps at the very end of the message. It says, number 1, screenshot this and email it to this email that says I am an A player. Step 2, pick a Facebook picture off of your Facebook, attach it to the email. Step 3, tell me why I should hire you.
Love it.
What that does is it tells me if they can follow instructions, and 2, it tells me that
Have an attention span.
Yeah. But the ad, and you I've told you this before, Chris, like we turn on an ad within 2 or 3 days, we'll have 300 and some odd applicants. I mean, even during COVID, it was like, we didn't have any problems during COVID. I mean, shit, we couldn't even keep up with sales, dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he the question was, how did you find him? I write the ad about the person.
Yeah.
I start off by creating scarcity in the title. 3 spots remain, like whatever, call it.
Yeah.
If you're,
Awesome.
let's say whatever your position is, Chris, a technician.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my ads, I create multiple ads and I split test them just like Facebook, and I'll put rock star technician needed ASAP, 2 positions remaining. And so what it does is it sparks curiosity, is what the hell is a rock star technician, which allows them to open the ad. It's very similar to like email marketing. You got to get them to open it. And then the other thing is it's creating scarcity, which allows them like, oh man, there's only 2 positions left. Boom. And then I hook them with the beginning part of it and say, hey, imagine coming to work every day with a smile on your face and not having to deal with an asshole boss. Something along the lines that hooks them into the bullet points. Yes, we are a company that still believes in Christmas bonuses. We believe in high fives. We love to have barbecues with our family and friends and cornhole tournaments in the shop. And by the way, we even will have a beer with you on the weekend. So at any point in time, all I'm trying to do is get people. It's my job to get the people in. Then we like, if they follow instruction, you're going to get a shit ton of people, right? But if you can it's like marketing for a customer. If you can't get leads, you don't have sales. So these candidates will apply, right? Well, the ones that can only afford a $200 house wash, I don't want. Those are the ones that come through and don't follow instructions. The ones that come through and can't afford a $1,000 house wash are the ones that are following instructions and sending email. So out of the 374, you'll get about 20 some great A players. You bring them in for an interview, and you, at that point, you now become a salesman. Now you have to convince them why your badass culture is where they need to be. And when they walk in here, you're not sitting on my desk having somebody bring them into my office. I'm walking out in the lobby, shaking their hand. Man, great to meet you, man. High five. And when they try to reach out, I said, no, bro, we high five around here. I'm immediately setting the standard, what our culture's like here.
And don't you interview with the door open?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So they can hear me talk, talk. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So everybody that's sitting there for their chance to interview is also hearing what the other interviewees, and your interviews are extremely short as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Dude, because we have a 5-point avatar system, right? A 5-point avatar system is before you run the ad and you write the copy. Like your 5-point avatar, like the details that you're going to fill out for your 5-point avatar are not for a technician is not going to be the same thing as a warehouse worker or a CRS, a customer relationship specialist who wears headsets here. So that being said, you're going to have to build out the avatar. What do I mean by an avatar? Build in your mind what this person looks like. What are they wearing? How do they dress? How did they shake your hand? Did they walk in? What kind of shoes were they wearing? What kind of pants were they wearing? What kind of car were they driving? Right? Like the person that you know what? It's just like painting a picture of success. You don't know what success looks like unless you've been there in your head first, right? Because once you reach success, if you've never been there, you're not going to know if you got it or not. You're not going to keep building on that still. But anyway, it's a 5-point. I'm getting off subject. 5-point avatar. You build it out. And by the way, Chris, if you want me to share this,
the copy,
actually, I don't care if there's anybody in my market listeners. I don't care. I'll be willing to share that because there's a lot more to building culture than just a 5-point avatar sheet.
That's awesome, Ben.
But so you fill that out. They come in. So what I'm looking for is I have it built out. I don't hand this to them. It's just something that I look at. When I go out there, I'm looking for which ones meet this criteria.
right?
Mm.
Do they smile? Did they do their hair? Or how's their posture? When I walked in, were they eye contact, not nervous? Were they they were like, I am the quarterback of this team, and I'm going to score you points, bro.
Yeah.
So, and then when I have an A player, when I have somebody walks in, it's even on my standard operating procedures for management, how to build the avatar out and what to look for. So if you see that person, you hire them on the damn spot, and they better not let them walk out that damn door.
But they need to give a 2-week notice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care dude, I'll pay them to fucking start tomorrow. I'll give you $500 to quit and fucking start tomorrow. You got to be aggressive, bro. Like, I don't want
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? When you're trying to close the deal, it's just like sales, bro. Like, if you're committed to a winning damn team, I need an answer right now. I'll give you five. If I know that this person, by looking at the resume, looking at the car they drive, look how well they're put together, and I can look at the resume. They played sports in school. They had great college. I can now align what they're saying to who they are, and I can believe they're not bullshitting by how they spoke to me and how they communicated clearly what their intentions are. I'll hire them on the damn spot. I don't.
You got to have it's a customer acquisition cost for an employee. For me, it's the subcontractors, the same thing. It's a cost to get them, and I'm okay with it. And I try to drive that cost down, but you got to do it. You're not going to get this guy off Craigslist to come in for free.
So the other question is how do you retain these A players through the winter seasons, which I know your Christmas lights was a strategy.
So a lot of things. All year, we all tell all technicians. So we do. I don't know if you guys are in the colder markets. We're transitioning over to equity, which also gives them buy-in. But one thing that we've done is I do $1 an hour match based on a 40-hour work week. Some hours these guys work a lot more because they're on a percentage base and they don't get done until the job's done. But they're required, like, if they want to do a winter dollar match, they have to work 40 hours. For if they quit for any reason, they lose my money. They'll get their money back. They cannot take a draw out of it for any reason. And January 2nd. So we close every year from December 16th to January 2nd because I allow a 2-week vacation for all staff. If they have PTO built up, they can use it. Otherwise, it's not paid. But on January 2nd, when we come back, is when I stroke that check, and it is tax-free. I pay the taxes on it. I literally write them out a damn check for what we have matched for their match. It's $3,000 or $4,000. It gets them by, even though we're not in Minnesota. So we have like 4 to 5 weeks of really cold weather. We still wash in it because we have hot water equipment too. Between the Christmas lights, we don't really have a dip in revenue, maybe 5 to 7% dip, but
I think that's the key is you've got to have another service that's also able to be done in the winter if you're on the outside. Just like the lawn care, they do the leaf pickup, they do the pine straw, all of that, even though the grass is not growing. So you just got to sit there and brainstorm and figure out what can you do to keep yourself busy that's still going to allow you to not have to buy a whole nother complete business and plug the staff into.
And by the way, if anybody wants to learn Christmas lights, reach out to me. You can pay me for a nominal fee. You can go out with my operations manager and he could teach you everything that you need to know about it. And during that time, you can ride along with the guys. They can teach you. You can do it for a day. It's literally not that hard. I'll give you all my suppliers. I'll give you the keywords. You pay me extra money, I'll give you the negative keywords on Google. I'm not giving the negative keywords away for free. You got to pay me extra money for negative keywords.
What are negative keywords?
Oh, shit. That's the money. That's the money topic.
Hey, Ben, are we Facebook friends? We got to be. I got to message you after this. I got a lot of questions. Let's talk. Hey, I got to go pick up my 3-year-old toddler here. Sorry to cut you guys.
We'll end it.
Ben, I'm going to reach out to you today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Put your info in the comments so that they can get a hold of you.
How do I do that?
When we close down, go into the Facebook page underneath the live and put it into the comments, and we'll be able to. People can reach out and get in touch with you for the Christmas light training, for opportunities to expand in other markets, whatever the case is. Dude, fantastic interview. I knew it was going to be this way. Thank you for taking the time to just give so much love and gold to the community here. And I'm going to be reaching out to you probably tomorrow. I'll hit you up.
Are you going to Destin?
For Chris's, no.
Yeah. Okay, we aren't either. We're going to the one in March. I want you to go to the one in March so my wife can meet your wife.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I can make that happen. Yeah. I'm done for events for the year. And then we're picking back up next year. I mean, they've been incredible for our growth. So the events are, y'all watching. If you're not plugging into the events and networking, you're missing out. One thing I'm fixing to start doing that I have not done, which is insane. I've not been going to my industry specific events. And I'm going to start plugging in and doing that a little more so that I can just, dominate on the disaster cleanup side. Because it's fantastic money, good profit margins, and we need to just capitalize on it as much as possible. But absolutely, man, I'll reach out to you and we'll talk some more about the marketing because you got me fired up about that.
Yeah, man, that's what I love. That's the only thing I actually love, dude, is marketing.
Yeah. All right. Make sure you put your comments. Blue Collar Millionaires, thank you for your time and watching. And y'all be sure to post in the comments underneath what you like and what you might want to know more about. See you guys later.